everybody.
Or hi
I'm
everyone. We are so happy to be here together to have a sweet talk. You are the first MVT on my YouTube channel.
Hi, everybody.
So, Eliran, what is your card for this year?
Hold on. In echo, so I'm pausing the YouTube and I'm back. Here we go. I'm good.
Hopefully, we are hearing you. Okay, we hear you, but the image is just a little slow. So, what is your card for this year?
Oh my God, the Four of Swords. But let me find it. Well, I mean, I haven't obviously resting and slowing down in my deck show, but I took the Majestic Earth, if you can see. And it's very interesting that the Four of Swords, this deck actually has it. So maybe this is a little crazy to try and do while I'm live, but believe me when I said there's a grave and then there's a harp in the middle and two angels standing. I'm thinking maybe it's not the traditional meaning. Maybe it's trying to say something else. But yeah, Four of Swords is
Wow.
my.
Yeah, or maybe you need to make people resting with your music.
Maybe.
All right, so I'm really happy to have you here today, and we will be talking about your new Oracle deck. But first of all, what about introducing yourself to those who are watching us? Who are you?
Hi. um, I was looking at that question, like, what does one say? Like, how do you sum up the last 44 years of one's life in two sentences? But the thing that came to me to say was, I'm all the things that I love. So I love music and I love piano and I love cards and I love astrology and I love rocks and crystals. Um, so I wear different hats at different points. Um, and I was born in Israel, and I was there till age 19, and then I came to the States, and I went to college here, and I was very lucky to study in a prominent music school. And somewhere along the way, I met some wonderful guides, wonderful people that opened my mind to astrology and to tarot cards and to divination and to source and to spirit. And 44 years later, I'm here trying to build a bridge between all of these different things.
This is beautiful what you are saying. It's really interesting to see how we have so many tools that are available to us and so many ways of expressing ourselves or
Absolutely.
to connect to the divine or something like that, and putting all this together. I think really not all people have this ability to do it.
You see the door open? That's a cat. No, ignore it. I think that it's interesting because when I was asking my guides if they had a message for us today, it was really beautiful because it's all about us acknowledging each other, acknowledging ourselves in one another. So we're all one. We're all connected. The world is right now in a turmoil unlike anything I've ever experienced. And it's all about separation. It's all about us seeing ourselves as separate beings, as separate people, as separate nationalities, as separate religions, separate genders, separate everything, instead of acknowledging that we are all one. We're all spirit. We are all manifestations of spirit, and recognizing that in one another. I think we all have our separate connection to the divine, but at the end of the day, we are, like this.
Yeah, and we show the way also to the others, and the others show us their way of
Right.
connecting. For example, you have connected, for example, the music and doodling, just showing you your deck
For
here.
the protocol, I hate the word doodle. I don't like that word. But when we were trying to come up, my husband was helping me to try and find the right name. And I really wanted to call them the portal cards. And of course, the portal cards from this other wonderful guy just came out. So we were like, I can't call them portal cards. And they are doodles. They are little sketches, little drawings. So yeah, what am I trying to say? What are we talking about?
We were talking about connecting many things at the same thing, or your way of connecting. It's like when I received your deck, I have no idea how I was going to use it, but it was so easy to use, so easy for me to. It's speaker deck, It's not like a deck that you will just pick one card. It's like you pick a card and then there's another one that wants to come, and then
They like to talk, that's for sure.
So how did you come to create it and to combine all these things in just this deck?
Okay, so I'm going to try to do this with visuals, but you tell me if it's problematic. This is part one. This was the book that I started sketching in 1999. Can you see?
Yeah, let me put myself on the.
So this is what they look like at the beginning. And I have no idea. Don't ask me what these are. I really can't tell you. They were a lot of fun to do. You could see that it's all done with, Pilot pen. Yeah, you can see on the wall behind me over there. You can see some more. So this is how it started. I just bought this ginormous sketchbook and started doodling, started sketching. And it was very therapeutic. It was a lot of, I felt like a lot of my intensity as a Scorpio got to go on the page and go crazy like that. And then I was introduced to this wonderful community, and I started following some wonderful channels and all these possible oracle cards, and so I guess somewhere in my head it already started, combining. And then I was thinking that part of my problem is that I think I'm very much in the moment. Like right now, I'm with you, and I'm totally focused, and I'm very intense, and I'm here. And in 3 hours, I'm going to be the same thing with the piano, and 4 hours later, I'm going to be the same way with something else. And I forget. It's like I feel that I forget the lesson. I was taught something, and I'm going to learn it again in 2 weeks, and I'm going to learn it again in 4 weeks. And I wanted to create a deck for myself with those lessons that I keep forgetting. The things that the universe, my spirit guides, all of that, that group is trying to teach me again and again and again. I keep saying like, nah, maybe not today. So that's where the deck came from. And there were about 100 plus cards originally of these little doodles and prompts on the back that said things like, stop speeding, or take a break. Yeah, be still. That's a very hard one for me. Put boundaries, say no to people, like really, for me, impossible things that I still struggle with today. So yeah, so I've drawn the cards, and then I showed it to a couple of people, and they said, oh, you have to, just print a small number of decks and share it with people. And my good friend said, what about the book? And I was
and yeah, the cards, okay, and then
what
the book.
What do you mean a book? Like, come on, isn't this enough? It's a lot of work. He said, like, no, you have, especially because they are abstract, you have to write a book. Okay. So I would go to work in the morning, and I would, I work from 10 till 7, 8, teaching and practicing. And then I'll come back home, have dinner, and I would sit down and write the book. So actually, I did some research today. I started doodling in September, this deck, 2016. I chose the 50 cards for the deck 2 years later in January 6th. We're almost there, January 6th, 2018. And we're now 2 years later and we're talking about a finished product. So it took 4 years, so many drafts of the book, of the card. There were 6 printings of the cards you're seeing right now. It was very, very difficult to get. I said it in a video I made. I'm not a visual artist. I'm not a painter. I'm not a. This is not one of the hats that I wear. So it was important for me to at least retain the original colors and vibrancy of the originals. And when I got the first printing, there's the video of me getting, and I think you can see in the video me going like, oh no, like what? It's not even remotely close to what I wanted it to be. So 6 printings later, there are about 4 or 5 versions of the book. I'm very happy with what's out there. I think it's pretty much as close as I could get to sharing lessons. Very long answer, sorry.
No, this is really wonderful. I like hearing what you are saying, because first of all, producing a deck is not that easy. It takes a long time. It takes really trying and seeing and adjusting.
I mean, the real question is, would you do it again knowing what you know today? I think
exactly.
I'm not sure. I think I didn't anticipate it being so difficult on the production side. I thought that the hard part was to create it, write it, but not to, and really the biggest obstacles were in the production side. And it's a shame because it really should not be that difficult, but yeah.
And also you said really something really, really interesting that speaks really to my heart, because I am like you. I am definitely like you in this point, is that we create oracle decks because we want to remember. We want to remember these teachings. We want to keep that connection, but we forget, because I think a lot of creative minds are like that. They are in the present moment and then they forget, and they get, it's like everything is moving, and shifting. But you have written a book, and you have been committed to write it. How come? How did you get that motivation? And it's like after work every day. How did you do it?
I mean, the first thing that I have to say that is, without my earthly guides and my not so earthly guides, both ends were very wonderfully supportive and wonderfully persistent that this needed to happen. And that side of it, I have no regrets. I'm fortunate that it chose to come through me to the world, and I learned so much, and my being, my presence, my spirit is so much stronger because of creating this project. I understand so much more than I could ever have just, sitting at home and reading about it. Doing something, creating something teaches you a lot. So that's part one. Part two, I really love divinations. I really love cards. I don't have a big collection, but the stuff that I do, I hold it very dear to my heart. So listening to walkthroughs and to people's ideas about what a deck should do and should represent, I felt like I was going into this project with a lot of knowledge about definitely what not to do, but also what I really wanted to do. So then what happened was that I felt that for every card I wanted to do the usual, give you the keywords and give you the mantras and sort of, give people what they're familiar with, and not, because the images really are not very helpful. And they're not like, okay, colors, shapes, what's going on here. You really need something concrete to anchor you in the card. And then, of course, I said, I have to do music, because this is, I would say neglected, because it's neglected in divination. It's not something that we normally see associated with the images. And the thing that came to me today I thought it was really beautiful, is that the difference between, I don't know if you can see, but you can see this beautiful Monet. The image, it's an inspiring image. It's a beautiful, this is Cézanne. It's, for me, I can jump into this painting, I can jump into this drawing and I could get the energy of it and I can learn something from it. But it's a little bit frozen, if that makes sense. And for me, music frozen. Music is the energy being alive.
Moving.
So
Yeah.
it has much more. I want to say this. I'm not belittling visual art, and I'm not saying that music is better, but what I'm saying that they're different, and I'm saying that for me, music, it's like you and there's more. There's an evolution to the emotion. There's an evolution to the experience. There is um, tremendous potential for healing with music. So I knew that I wanted that in the book. And then, of course, I saw this. I think I wrote about it in the book. I saw Katie Flowers talk about self-care activities. I was like, of course, we need to have that. And um, the chakras and the crystals, which I love. So of course we have to have crystals. So the list of correspondences just grew and grew and grew and grew. And yeah, and then I guess the other part of it was that I really wanted the book to be um, personal and specific. I think a lot of the time we get these guidebooks and they are, I don't. You see something very general, like, oh, when you see the nature card, you should go into nature and you should explore nature. It's like, okay, great, yeah, we know that, but what about you and nature makes this card or this perspective unique, right? So I really wanted the book to be a very subjective, personal experience of me talking, usually about my shadow, usually about things that did not work, and say, when I see, I don't know which card to talk about, but something like putting boundaries, especially when you're an empath and people want information from you. They want your empathy, they want your caring, and being able to say, I really can't give that to you right now. That's a huge, huge, huge lesson. And if I don't talk about the personal experiences, then I really don't want to patronize anybody. I really don't want to sound like, oh, I've got this down. I really don't. And I think sometimes when we read those guidebooks, it sounds like somebody just solved all the problems of the universe, and the rest of us is just, yeah, it's really not that way. It's really much more complicated. And then the last thing was the channeling side, and those were really the most crazy, but wonderful and crazy, to just sit on the computer and thoughts and sentences would come in and I would start writing them. And I swear that they're so much more intelligent than I am. The stuff that they come up with was so much more interesting than anything that I wrote. So I think there's very clearly two distinct voices in the guidebook of what I feel subjectively about the cards, and then what my higher self guides felt like they wanted to contribute.
So let me just share the elements you have added to each card. For each card, there is around 3 pages. 3 pages per card, and you have put that into section. There is the sharing section. There is the channeled message, as you call it. There is the keywords, the shadow, the emotion when you get this card, the emotion to develop, an affirmation, self-care activity. There is the music. There is even, you have added also the tree, the animal, the element, the chakra, crystals, the guide. It can be archangels, planets, and the extra. I mean, it's a really rich book, and it's a really rich book. let me show the PDF version. Maybe it will be clearer for our viewers now. Just sharing the screen. Where is the page? Where did I put the page here? I'm having so many pages here.
Technology is wonderful, and
yeah, I don't know if you are like that. It's like having many things at the same time.
I have about 40. I had to close all the windows that were open for this.
All right, I found it. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, great. Awesome.
So we have the yes card, for example, and there is the sharing here, the prompt, the music, Oh, the channeled message. Forgot it here.
Yeah.
The tree
Oh, they were
element.
calling me on my crap all the time. I would say something so vehemently, and then the channel message would be like, "You're full of crap. Stop."
So what about sharing? Maybe you are talking about a channeled message. What about maybe picking a card for us, and let's see what is the channeled message for us today, just to see.
To be awesome. Okay, I have the deck.
And while waiting for the card, Christine said, when I received the deck and opened it, she laughed because the first card was no. How refreshing. She knew then that the deck was going to be a bull straight to the point deck.
Yeah, that's my to-go-to word. I start with no. It takes me to get to yes takes a long time. Transform. So this is no, this is no.
Yeah, we see it very well.
Okay. So I love this card because again the shape comes first, right? So I start by put the pen on the pencil and then it goes crazy. Then we start with how we're going to color in the spaces. Color, and then there is the shadow. So for me, transformation is sort of liberating those black patches to be a color. And we can see it right now in the world. It's not a pretty process. Transformation is not for the faint of heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we want to read what's in the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
The channel message. It's number 43, I think.
Yep. Doubt in the when one of us is wounded, we are all wounded. Wow, it's going to make me cry. There is no doubt in the concept that when one of us is wounded, we are all wounded, and when one of us heals, we all heal. You see example of this everywhere in your life. You're pained when you see pain, and you feel joyful when you see joy. You might even cry when you see someone reunited with a loved one, when you observe someone experiencing a miracle in their lives. The authenticity of these moments is so moving to you that it will trigger a miracle in you. It might look like on the surface like self-centeredness, and to some degree it is. You're working on yourself to transform yourself. But we want you to know that by doing so, you're also transforming the world around you. When you walk around with a smile on your face, you're raising everyone else's consciousness. When you share your joy with the world around you, you trigger that joy in everyone around you. When you heal an old wound and you release yourself from its grip, you allow others around you to do the same. You are not alone, neither on the earthly plane nor on our plane. And you should know this, understand this, and embrace this. We're all connected. What happens to one of us happens to all of us. A person suffering on another side of the world can affect your well-being. She's not isolated from you, nor are you isolated from her. You perceived isolation from everything around you is one of the greatest misconceptions of humanity. You may consider it cause and effect. We call it everything with a capital E. You are a part of everything, and as such, you should understand that everything you do has a ripple effect that affects everything else. It is in being, not doing, that you will heal and transform others. That is, Living as a light being allows you to shine that light onto others in everything you do. The way you drive, greet another person, teach, and love. You must infuse situations with light, light, and more light. This is how you will heal. Bring light to the situation. Of course, as mentioned, there's always a shadow, but if you focus on the internal light, others will find it difficult to ignore and will connect to it. It is like flowers and trees, which emanate peace, love, and healing. If you too can emanate peace, love, and healing, then you will be able to share these feelings with others and will awaken in them the same sensations. And that is our hope for you and your friends, to be at peace, share love, and be healed forever.
Oh, this is beautiful.
The reason why it's making me it's what's happening in Australia, what's happening in Iran and the US, and I guess all of us as empaths, I think we feel it on a physical level. Like I feel what's happening in Australia on a physical level. All the animals and the fires, I feel it. And of course, there's also the rise in anti-Semitism in the U.S., which is a personal thing for me. So yeah, the fact that we can't still understand that when we hurt one person, we're hurting ourselves is, if we could just teach that, if we could just sit with that, we get past the point that we're peaceful beings and we greet one another as we greet ourselves, and we will heal the world. But humanity seems to be sort of locked on not transforming this, on insisting that we are separate patches, that we're not one part of a big whole. So I will
now
get
let's
on the
start with
soapbox now. Yeah.
Let's start with transforming ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And in transformation, they were talking about being and being who we are, and not just
Yeah.
doing. And transformation is also being, like maybe accepting ourselves and how we are. And talking about acceptance, you need to accept the questions I will be asking you now. It's not the end of our interview, because I know that you brought some spreads that you will share with us.
Yeah.
So before I get in, for our interview, I asked your deck, what question should I ask you? So the first card that came, we talked a lot about the no, but I got the yes. So what should you say yes to?
What should I say yes to? They want me to compose. Not happening.
Well, it says yes, so
they know. I mean, I write about it in the book, is when finally sort of the idea of you're going to draw and you're going to write the book, and it was already there. They said, hey, you're going to compose music for the cards, and I was like, no. So they got 2 out of the 3, but I think they're still stuck on like.
and they want you to compose a music, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about music for our interview. So did you thought about it? Did you bring something?
Yes. It's very, very difficult. Just bear with me, okay? Because I feel like I'm building a bridge between this side of things, the divination side and the cards and spirit, and my very academic musician side. I'm a highly trained, I have a doctorate in this stuff. There needs to be a bridge, and it's being built slowly between these 2 sides. So how can okay, the way I'm going to express it is this. When we're all individuals, right? You are, I'm Israeli. I identify as a male. I'm gay. I live now in the U.S. I have all of these attachments, all these um, agendas added to my personality, right? So when I look at the card, when I look at the Emperor card, for example, and I see a white guy sitting on a throne, I have a problem. And I think I'm not the only one. I have a problem, and others, have a problem with it. So let's say you go, okay, you know what? We're going to put Cleopatra as the Emperor card. Why not? She was a monarch. She was, celebrated. Cleopatra. And then some of us are going to get upset because, hold on, but she was she was straight. I really want a gay emperor. So okay, let's put Elton John on the Emperor card. Are we good? And this split keeps happening, that we want to identify ourselves in the image that we see on the card, and when we don't, we get, I don't want to say upset is a big word, but we keep wanting to find resonance and find ourselves in the cards that we're seeing, right? And I think really the point is to come to a place that, again, like that we become one, that we are, instead of seeing the separateness of all of these different manifestation, I did a video about this, and I said I see it as a house with different doors. So you can take the Cleopatra door, and you can take the Elton John door, you can take, the traditional emperor door, but you're still within the same archetype.
Mm-hmm.
But really the point is to get inside the house and to see what's there and to deal with the archetype. And I'm going to take the word deeper, and instead of archetype, let's use the word energy.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that energy do?
Mm-hmm.
And how can we utilize the energy?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to bring music. With music, you just walk into the energy. There is no division. There is no you're male or female, you're straight or gay, you're from this place or that place, you're this age. There is no difference. It's just the energy. You just walk into the energy. Now, the problem with music, of course, is that some of us are more attracted to one style than another, that some of us have more affinity to this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us recognize certain elements in music, some of us don't, and that's totally okay. We're all having our subjective experience with the music. I mean, I guess there's that's download number one. When we get into listening to music, I see it again, if you can imagine like a sphere with me. And if you look at the upper side of the sphere, it's positive emotions, and below this, the middle line, it's negative emotions. Some music, I should say, takes us on a journey. So it will start, take a trivial example like Beethoven's Fifth, pa 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 pam. It's angry or frustrated, or and then the second theme is beautiful major melody, right? So there's a conflict between the anger and beauty, and what's resolved in the music is that conflict. If we can bring ourselves into the music and experience the conflict, we'll also experience the resolution. So that's music.
This is beautiful what you are saying. It's like my soul is like, it's like I'm feeling like a lot of light here.
See, my problem is that it's so intuitive and quick for me that I keep telling my guys that I don't understand what you want from me. This is trivial. This is, of course, what. And they keep saying, like, you don't understand. You really don't understand it. For a lot of people, identifying the emotion is a problem. Feeling the emotion is a problem. Transitioning between emotions is a problem. Containing emotions are a problem. And the list goes on. I do this for a living. So of course, it's very fascinating. It's very natural. Difficult. I'm not saying that it's not a challenge. Very difficult sometimes. But I don't argue with the task, And I think what music can do for people who are not musicians or people who do not deal with this is really it's basically therapy on your own. You listen to the piece of music and you open that door and you experience the feelings and you let whatever comes up come up.
Mm-hmm.
Have a dialogue with it and hold. Yeah. One more thing. The On my site, I started creating different playlists. So there are playlists for my cards, but there are also playlists for the tarot cards, for the 78 cards. And I did an experiment on myself, with the playlists for joy and the playlist for the sun card. Now I wanted to see, when I wake up in the morning, I could not be in a darker mood. I wake up, takes a cup of coffee and a lot of meditation and some cards to get me to be my nice sunny self. But I do not wake up in that place. And I did an experiment with listening to the music on that playlist to see what is it going to do. And it's mind-boggling. Like, even me and my most grumptious, angry place, I start hearing, "Oh, what a beautiful morning," and I go like, "Oh God," and I start laughing because, Nick, there's nothing beautiful really, but the music has so much joy and so much upliftment in it, and you can't fight it. Like, you just, okay, it's a beautiful morning. Yeah, let's sing Oklahoma.
And you talked about a list of songs,
Yeah.
and it's like, where is this list? And what are you going to do with it? And would it be something that you would share maybe in the future with us?
The lists are already on my channel. If you go to my channel and you click on the list, you can go and see what's there. The disclaimer is, again, this is music that works for moi.
Mm-hmm.
You have to create your own. You can listen. You can, of course, take ideas from mine, and you can please enjoy listening to it. But there's no doubt in my mind that there's some stuff on there that you're going to go like, hmm. So yeah, that's a disclaimer. But Elrond, I wanted to create a deck that would be a tarot deck, but the images would be similar to these, and they would represent the energies of the archetypes. And then we'll go from there to music. Mm-hmm. My guys are saying no. So there's a piece I'm missing. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you. It's something is going to happen. I know that there's a part 2. Actually, I know there's part 2 and part 3, but I don't know how part 2 is going to come together. But it's definitely music. It's definitely energy. It's definitely helping people get into, let's say, that sphere I was talking about, by helping them identify what the emotion is and then walking into that emotion and hopefully seeing them to the other side.
Mm-hmm. I am on your YouTube page just to make sure I have the right list that we are sharing here. So you're talking about the Dreaming Moon series music?
No. Hold on. Now we're stuck now. You know when you have the bar, the home, videos, playlist, channels? When you click on the playlists, oh, there's an arrow here. See, music and tarot, 5 of swords, and then CDC is the spirit. Can you see that?
I don't see Doodle Cards. Maybe it's a playlist that is just private or something like that?
No, I made them all. Yeah, I thought that there was a problem. I made them all visible. That's strange. Do you see the arrow on the side, Wasima, on the right side?
Just a second. No, it's not this one. So I don't really see it, but maybe you can just send it to me later and I can put it on the link on the description box below. Yes, because we would be really interested to know about that. And when you are talking about the music and the the image that we see, for me it relates to my own experience from the perspective of, for example, when you give healing sessions, you can invite people to make a to visualize things, visualize lights and different colors and different scenes. But when I do it with sound, and sound because I sing with, my spirit allies sing through me, this song, they do not need to understand it. They do not need to visualize it. I receive visions when I am singing because the song is a story. It says a story, but I'm not obliged to say to the person, this is the story that is happening. So there is something related to sound and image and or colors and something like that. And that the sound and sound therapy is, I feel it's really something really advanced. Images and colors, yes, they are advanced, but sound is really advanced. When we talk about sound, we are talking about dolphins, we are talking about whales, and we are talking about their intelligence and all this, it's like there is something really interesting in this field.
Yeah, and I think we're just starting to tap the potential of all of these things for sure.
Exactly.
I want to make a couple of comments about what you said. I'm a firm believer that you can listen to music and not know anything about what I just spoke about, and you will have an incredibly emotional experience, which is what you're talking about, no doubt. I also think that if you can make that process conscious, you're going to get a lot more of it from it. And I teach day in and day out, so I see it with my students all the time. They are not that willing to go into that conscious place. There's a basic trepidation, fear. Why do I need to do this? Can't I just play the notes and it's going to be okay? And it was interesting because yesterday I had a really beautiful, profound lesson with one of my students, and I showed her how, if you sit and you just play the notes, or if you sit down and you have an image, you have something you're trying to communicate and you're playing the notes, what a profound difference that makes. Again, this is from the perspective of somebody who's creating music. Now, most people are coming to it from the experience of consuming the music. But when she chose a piece that I recorded in an album, she said, I love the piece because it was so emotional when I listened to you play. And she says, when I'm playing it, it's empty. I was like, well, do you know what's going in my being when I play this piece? And I told her the story. It's an old relationship, it's a broken heart. And I just went for it with that performance. And she's like, oh, well, now that explains it.
This is wonderful.
So of course, which brings me back to another point. When we spoke on Messenger, you said, the correlation between the chakras and single notes. So I want to say this right. Of course, if you are, clinging the crystal ball with an E or an F sharp, where it's going to do something, of course. But it's a little bit to me like saying, here's the letter A. Like the letter A in what? The letter A in apple, the letter A in angry, the letter A in airplane, like letter A in what? And then it's like, are you saying, you're saying something like, I'm so angry at you. You're saying, I'm angry. Completely different. So to take a single note and say we're now embedding it with healing qualities, to me is a little bit like saying we took a letter and it has meaning. No. The reason why you have Beethoven and Debussy and Ravel and Messiaen is because they took these notes and they put them together and they did some magical concoction of harmonies and rhythms and complexity. And now they've created this sphere, this universe of emotion and and healing. Yeah, of course, healing. And you walk into that universe and you're going to be like, oh my God, what's going on? Does it happen on the micro level of a single note? Yes. Is it much more profound when you have multiple notes and harmonies and rhythms? Yes. So this is why it's difficult for me when I read books that say that, oh yeah, the root chakra is E. I'm like, I'm sorry.
This is too limited.
I'm not buying it. E what? E loudly, E softly, E on a piano, E on a violin, E on the lowest octave, or E on the highest octave. It sounds to me like somebody thinking about it and just I know the notes, so I'm going to correlate them to the chakras. And there's a danger in that. Let's not, Einstein said, simplify it up to the point that it's still true, but not beyond that. So in our attempt sometimes to simplify things, we make things that are, nobody's going to tell you that E doesn't affect the root chakra because, who's going to do the scientific experiment? On the other hand, you can experience a song, My Falling Valentine, or I don't know, any song that you like, and you go, I listen to that tune and I go, yeah, that really touches my soul because it's in a context and it's in harmonic, dynamic context of the music. That's my academic side coming through with.
Well, this is interesting what you are saying, and this is really interesting because I have something really basic, and having basic words, basic teachings is important also, so we can enter into a field, but we do not really stick to that field. We need to go beyond and learn. It's like the sound. I was talking about the sound, and it's really important what you are saying is the rhythm and putting everything together that triggers something and activates something. It's like when it's really interesting. It works for me as a sigil or as words. When you put a letter in, there is a formula.
Do you remember it was a stupid show called Ally McBeal, the lawyer, and she kept hearing songs? You know what I'm talking about? It wasn't a very intelligent show, but the one very intelligent thing about it was that she would get into a certain mood or certain situation, and all of a sudden they would go into like a Broadway moment, and she would like, and I thought that's exactly right. Like there is, and the real potential is that you could take and change your emotion from one situation into another just by allowing the music in.
To be receptive and to be conscious. This is what you have said. And you know what? It's like you were talking about this, and I remembered one of my clients. She was, I don't say what I see because, it's really important what the person sees and says and feels. And after I finished, and she was telling me the story I have seen and how I was singing, because she was present and she was conscious about what is happening. She was really in tune. This is interesting that we say in tune, She was really present. I want to give you some comments just next, so we have people here saying how cool
this is. Sorry we're ignoring you, but I can't see the chat, so go ahead.
We are passionate about this. So my music is such a great analogy for life. Iridescent Sea, thank you for your comments. And she says, one song alone can invoke many deep, complex feelings, the universal language. Totally agree with that. Moon Pry Lucy, you made it. Thank you for being here. And the last comment of urgency, I have sat with children listening to classical music and asked them to describe the various emotions they hear through the piece. This is really great. I've got a question of Christine Celeste. I didn't forget you. I let this question to be the final one. But before, I didn't finish because one of the cards that wanted to be here is healing. So what did you heal and what is in the way of healing for you?
Wait, are you asking me why? Oh, Jesus.
One word. Because we have lots of questions.
What am I healing? I think healing. Okay, Dreams of Gaia has all of those archetypes that she added, and one of them is the healer. Of course, that's the card that I pulled. That's my job here. That's my job on in this lifetime. I'm here to help myself heal from all of my Scorpio shadow, and in the process, I'm trying to help other people heal themselves of their shadow.
Wonderful. And one last question that you need to choose because I cannot put which one. This
left.
one?
Always left.
Left? Okay.
Yes.
So the left is action. Act.
Yeah.
So
nemesis. Stop. Yeah. Which is why I got the Four of Swords. Like there's a balance of
action and okay, perfect. This is your answer. I will take that as your answer. Okay. I know that you have brought a spread for
Yes.
today. Do you want to share it with us?
Yes. I also want to show you before we go. But the original cards were like yay big. This is where we're at. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, they're growing. So this is what it looks like. It looks like empty spaces, and then it gets filled out. And the latest development is I've never broken lines before. So this is very interesting to me that this happened. You see. So now there are actual geometric shapes appearing in them, which I think is going to be very interesting. But yeah, spread. I'm going to hold this and you tell me if you, okay. So this spread is called Pluto as, ruler of Scorpio spread, or Pluto's diamond. And this came to me many, 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 many years ago. I say almost 20 years ago. Probably when I was in one of my darkest shadow moments. And it was really powerful in helping me center. So let's start with the points within. The first position is, what's your vision? So if we're looking, for example, at creating this deck, the vision was, create a deck of cards with the book and, share it with the world. What's the fear? The fear is that, oh my God, these are doodles. What is the world going to say? And who the heck are you to create these? And just get over yourself. So what's the point? The point is that there's always a polarity. There's always a connection between these two. You want to do something, you want to act, you want to go after your vision, but there's fear on the other side. You don't want to, how can I do it? You don't want just the vision and you don't want just the fear. You want awareness of both of these points, the light and the shadow. Don't ignore the shadow. Don't ignore the light. Find the polarity, find the balance point between them. And then this was, for me, it was revolutionary because I was always about action, connect, connect, connect. So what action can I take to bring that vision into the light, into being, right? So if you're creating a deck, it would be, okay, I'm going to draw the cards, I'm going to write the book, I'm going to find a printing, I'm going to do all of these things, and I'm going to take concrete action steps to make the vision happen, right? The polarity point for me was the revolution. Like, how do you disconnect from it? And why do we need to disconnect? Because we need a polarity, we need a balance point between action and inaction, between connection and disconnection to be healthy. So how am I disconnecting from this deck? As I said before, it took 4 years to create. I was not working on it 24/7. I did not dedicate my entire life to it. When I was in the zone where I felt like, okay, I'm ready to move to take an action, I did. And when I didn't, I was watching Netflix. And unhealthy forms of disconnection is when we ignore something, when, I don't know, that you need to go on a diet, but you go like, whatever, I'm going to eat another, burger and fries. So there's no balance between the action and the disconnection. Very quickly, the other points, there are 4 points, and that is forces that are coming in and are pushing you out of your center. So let's start with the escape. Where's the escape? Here? Yeah, no, here. So how are you trying to escape this scenario? So I wasn't really escaping from creating this deck, but I would say that I would escape into my daily responsibility. So I have to go work, I have to teach, I have to practice. I'm not doing this deck. So that was my escape. What was trying to come in that I should have blocked was more fear, was more negativity, that nobody's going to like this deck, nobody's going to want to use it. I'm just, basically it's a big ego project. And so a lot of negative thoughts that I just needed to block. What I needed to welcome, this is my guides for sure. What influence are you welcoming in? And with their guidance, with their love, with their channeled message, they sort of said, no, you can do it. Keep coming back, keep coming back. And the flip side of it, what do you need to go and find? I needed to go find editors, believe it or not. So the first editor was wonderful, and then my sweet husband took the manuscript and did a massive editing job on it. But it's something that I needed to find, something that I didn't have in my experience, that I needed to go out of my center and find it in a different place. So 8 points to the spread: vision, fear, connect, disconnect, escape, what we're blocking, what we should allow in, and what we should find. And that's Pluto's diamond in a nutshell.
Beautiful. Say it again. What is the title?
Pluto's diamond.
Pluto's diamond.
Yeah.
Diamond. I just added the spread on the Facebook group, New Beginning and Tarot, so you can find it and try it. Thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, Christine and Celeste, she's asking a question before we,
Please.
gather everything and ask you my questions at the end. So she said, can you talk about the video you posted recently on YouTube about the letter you received and read on the video?
Christine really wants to see me cry, right? No. Thank you for mentioning it. I get, there's a small group of us who are using these cards, and I'm eager to hear people's responses and reactions. And one sweet person sent me a very long email describing her experience with the deck, and I was so moved that I read it on camera. And basically, she is a nurse and she works with children who suffer traumatic injuries. So, lost limbs. This poor boy lost his leg in a mowing machine accident. I can't even think about how that happened, but he has no leg. And she's telling the story of, she brings the deck into these support groups, and she lets the kids pick cards and they talk about it. They create playlists to them. It's amazing. And the kid is sitting there on a revolving chair, and she says, like a normal teenager or a young adult does, and his leg falls off. And the mother comes running to her, and he pulls the card. I mean, I don't have the right card, but he pulls the card, the don't interfere, and pushes it into his mom's face. And he says, I got this, Mom. And he gets up and he straps his foot back on. And she said, my friend said, and we're all laughing, because here's a kid owning his power, saying, Mom, I got this. I'm not, I can do this. You don't need to run and help me all the time. And I just, in my wildest dreams, I could not imagine this scenario happening. Here I am doodling and writing a book. I never thought it would get into the hands of a 12-year-old who's going to use it to put a boundary for his mom, a healthy boundary. So probably one of the most rewarding moments in my life is that email and sharing that story. Yeah. I know.
Okay. Let's, make a conclusion to our video. And I will give you final questions and just one word. One word. I know we've got many things to talk about, but you know what? You can come back here whenever you want.
I would love to. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so last questions and one word, okay? What is magic?
Everything.
Spirit guides. Everything. No, choose another word. You have given that already. If you can, that's okay.
Yeah, it's love.
Love, okay. Mission.
Healing.
Music.
Passion.
I was thinking everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Art.
Inspiration.
Tarot.
System. But not just system like it's a system, but system. Okay.
Community.
Problems.
Unity.
God.
And the final word?
I pick.
Yes.
Peace.
Oh, thank you very much for coming here. Thank you very much for this
Thank you,
video.
Lakshma. It was great. Pleasure to
Uh,
be with you.
yeah, it was really
Bye,
wonderful.
everybody. If you
Uh,
have more questions, just leave them below, and I'll watch again and I'll answer questions.
yes,
Sorry for not following the chat.
and we follow the chat. They were here supporting us, and you can find the deck we are talking about on his website just below. If you want to connect with Elrond, you can go ahead and subscribe to his YouTube channel. The link also is below. If you want me to invite him again on my channel, I will gladly do it. So thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye bye.
Ciao.